The year is 2002. I'm 23, and we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of 9/11. And I get this crazy wild hair to drive up to Michigan from South Texas and see my grandpa and interview him so people don't forget. While this isn't a short history lesson, as it covers the entirety of the war from my grandfather's perspective, I've bridged his autobiography with his actual interviews, so you get firsthand accounts from a normal guy who was sent into extraordinary situations. To my uncles and my cousins, this video is for you.
And what is your full name?
My first name is Henry. My second middle name is Roger, spelt with a R-O-G-E-R without the D. And of course the last name is Stroop, S-T-R-O-O-P.
And when were you born?
I was born February 13, 1922. Drafted in October of 1942, and that was about all there was to it. I had been in the draft from right after I got out of high school, but I wasn't put into the service until 42. I was hoping to graduate before I got in the service, but like millions of other guys, they didn't get to finish college either. So.
And that was in architecture you were?
I was studying architecture. I think the 2 years of college that I had helped somewhat to get a rank, to get the rank that I got, because I had done a lot of work in math, and the artillery was all math. It's all trigonometry, you know, and you deal with weather and ballistics and so on, and that's what I was really hired. I was employed to do.
The Japanese press is taking a seemingly bold attitude toward the United States today.
Some people talked about that I guess Roosevelt may have known.
There is a conspiracy theory that FDR knew Japan was going to attack Pearl Harbor and let it happen so Congress would agree to join the war. While this isn't true, what is true is that the American government and military absolutely should have known, and the fact they didn't is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, but I don't really think that that's true. That's like saying that George Bush knew that there was going to be an attack on the World Trade Center. I really don't think that was true.
60 on page 153.
Declassified memorandum from the Office of Naval Intelligence shows that 3 days before Pearl Harbor, Roosevelt received a 26-page memo detailing how Japan was looking to start open conflict in Hawaii.
I know that they had some intelligence about where, what was taking place, but I don't think they really knew that there was going to be an attack on Pearl Harbor.
According to historian Craig Shirley, just like with 9/11, the government was unprepared because they had a failure of imagination.
They knew the Japanese attack. Were they afraid that we were getting invaded at any point?
There was, I don't know that there was a concern about the United States being invaded. I think that they were worried more about the islands in the Pacific being invaded, which of course occurred because Wake Island was one of the first islands that was invaded or attempted to be invaded. And they took, the Japanese took over that island and some of the other islands down there, like Guadalcanal and some of those.
When you went in, you started out, I guess, as a private?
I did. I was a private for 6 or 7 months. Then I became a corporal. And I was a corporal while we had artillery exercises at Yakima, Washington. I was in the 361st Field Artillery Unit there, and we had our exercises in Yakima, Washington, which was in the mountains out west. Yeah, 155 howitzers. That was the unit that I was with, and that's the outfit that I figured firing data for.
How'd you go about it?
See, the battalion is made up, a howitzer battalion is made up of a headquarters battery, which I was in, battery A, B, and C, and each battery had 4 howitzers. So there was 12 howitzers in a battalion, and a service battery. A service battery delivered ammunition and food and mess stuff to these people, and to us, too. That was service battery's job. Headquarters battery had the wire service, the wire guys that laid lines and stuff, and my unit, which figured firing data for the howitzers and so on. So there was, we were figuring firing data for our battalion, which was 12 howitzers. But normally, if you get into a combat situation, they will attach other guns to your outfit. So we were figuring firing data for our own unit, plus several other units, 105 howitzers, 240 and anti-tank units, and heavy guns, heavy weapons. So quite often we were busy figuring firing data for a number of units that were stretched all along this line. So you had to figure a firing azimuth for each different battalion or each different battery. So that's the job that I had. I didn't have any real friends except after I finished that exercise in Yakima, I came home on a furlough, and then I returned there and found out that I was going to go to the University of New Hampshire, and I spent 9 months at the University of New Hampshire. And I made a couple of friends there because we roomed together. There were 3 of us in a room there.
Right.
And Jack Kellogg and Bob Thornton were friends of mine that I got to know quite well.
Mm-hmm.
Bob went into they both went into the infantry units, and Jack Kellogg was killed, I think, around December of '44.
It is not easy to say Merry Christmas to you, my fellow Americans, in this time of destructive war. Nor can I say Merry Christmas lightly tonight to our armed forces at their battle stations all over the world.
And Bob was injured on the line right around that time too, but he was sent to a hospital, and eventually he healed and married a girl from Illinois, and I became friends with him after the service.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him a few times, but he died when he was only around 50 years old, so he's been gone a long time.
After reading your autobiography, it seemed like they sent off, I guess, their cream of the crop to the war, and they left a bunch of people that didn't know anything.
Yeah, the induction centers had some really poor people. There was an officer at the University of New Hampshire, mm-hmm, and a non-commissioned officer there, and neither one of those, I think they were both a couple of dummies, I thought. But,
yeah.
I think most of the good officers, and I had some pretty good officers. I had a couple of graduates from Michigan State University, and 2 or 3 of them that were West Point officers, and they were quite good. I enjoyed working with them.
These days, you listen to, I guess, people in the military, and they say that if it wasn't for their training, they wouldn't have made it through it, and they, I guess, give all the credit to their training for why they survived. Yeah. Do you feel the same way, or did you basically pick up everything that saved your life in the field?
Well, I think the training that I had infantry training, so I had some pretty good training for being in a field artillery unit. And well, you learn a lot when you're under fire. Of course, I was under fire for a number of months, and that teaches you things in a hurry, that to keep your head down and don't try to attract any attention to anybody. So basically, that's what I did.
Let's go ahead and show some respect to the greatest generation by hitting that subscribe button and liking and sharing. Thanks.